Hello, everybody. Welcome to, well, we still don't have a name for this show, but it's it's channeling time with Jane and Jan, and we're just gonna talk about stress during the holidays and chaos during the holidays and things that might stress you out. So, but before we get into that, I'm Jan. I'm intuitive, and Jane, we're cousins. Jane's an intuitive too. Her intuitive abilities are like just super powerful. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. Um, yeah. Again, if you want to get in touch with any of us, just leave a comment below, or you can use the contact form at janhealing.com. You can get in touch with either of us that way. Or, and of course, and we also love when you subscribe and like the video. We've had a couple of likes on some of our videos recently, which is so fun, and good comments too. So yeah, so today we're talking about stress and chaos during the holidays, and kind of right before the show, we talked about pretty much all of them by accident, right? So, hmm. So I think this is a good time to put in a intention and a meditation for anyone who is struggling with stress during the holidays. And I think that when big events happen, and I remember this with the election last year, there were some people who had election stress so bad that they were like panicking about the outcome of the election. And yes, that affects your life no matter what happens, but it's not going to affect your personal day to day, the point where you need to be stressing out that much. Now Christmas is a little bit different. Sorry, holidays, right? Because whatever holiday it is, it can get a little crazy no matter what you're doing. And a lot of it has to do around food and seeing family members that you don't normally see, who may not, and there's maybe a good reason you don't see them, right? It may have to do with just all the things that you have to do on top of your normal day to day. And so we'll just talk about each one of those and kind of work through them. So let's get started with a yawn.
Okay, there's that soccer Alrighty.
All right, here we are. We're in the zone, man.
Like that.
Just like that. So let's get into, we're just going to feel into our heart space, because a lot of any holiday, no matter what it is, it's about being together typically, and appreciation for either your family or the divine, right? Most holidays are religious, and so there's a divine component. So that connection between the head and the heart. And so we're just going to focus in on actually all the chakras, because I think that we get a little too wrapped up in the upper ones and go, well, I don't have any lower chakras. So we're just feel into those too. And there we go. So let's bring in one piece at a time, because trying to overcome all of it at once can be crazy. So which one do you want to go with first, Jane?
Well, just like with the chakras, let's start with the root. And because I find it the easiest, because this isn't really much of a problem for me. Family.
Family, yeah. So we'll bring in the energy of family members. So think about family members that you love and feel how that feels in your body, and feel how that feels in your space. So sometimes we go, like, if you ever close your eyes and you are in a room full of people, you can kind of sense relatively speaking, where everybody is, because you're aware of your space. So feel what it feels like in your space and in your body to think of a family member you absolutely love. And then we're going to skip all the like variations on a theme, right? But if you were doing this, it would be good to go, okay, well, this family member and that family member, and feel those feelings and then release them. So we're not holding on to the happy feelings, we're letting them wash over us and we're allowing them to go, because the experience of feeling the feelings is changing us. So now we're going to go to the most extreme. Like there's just one person that you just do not get along with in your family. It doesn't matter. Everybody's got one, right? And you just butt heads all the time, and you love them because you're family, but at the same time, they frustrate you. So bring in the concept of that person. And we're not going to allow ourselves to start thinking about different arguments or different past conversations we've had, or frustrations, or why, or where it all came from, or where it all started. We're not going to think about that. We're going to allow this person to come into our space energetically. And we're just going to let those feelings wash over us, just like the happy ones. We're just going to let them wash over us and release from our space. Because we are in a space of pure love, and any time you're in a space of pure unconditional love, there is nothing that can be in your presence that is not in your highest good. So we're just letting those emotions wash over you and leave, because they're coming up for clearing. They're not coming up for you to dwell on them. All right. So that's family. That's family. Because everybody's different in your family. And you know how in I always had this like thought of like, why can't it be like this all the time? But like in some shows, when you like really love a show and somebody does something like really stupid in the show and they go, oh, that's so and so, right? But like I think most people, if they're that person and somebody goes, oh, that's so and so, like that doesn't feel like it's just they're accepting. It's sometimes it feels like they're judging, and sometimes people don't say things in the way that's easy to be received. So I'm sorry, do you have anything to add? Because I've just been talking really fast.
We're not talking too fast.
Oh,
You're good.
cool. All right, so let's go up to creativity. What's a holiday theme on creativity that's very frustrating? Oh, all the things you have to create. There's cooking, making the house, making things pretty, crafts.
Yep. I was gonna say
You were just gonna say crap. I'm sorry. I stole
No.
your words. Yeah. Let's just kind of clear out all of the stress around that, because the reason we're creating anything is because it's supposed to be fun.
Add spice to the season. It's supposed to be joyful and expressive, because we don't, probably most of us spend as much time creating as we should. Or I hate the word should, but you know what I mean.
As much like I think we deny ourselves the ability to create. Yeah.
That.
It's not so much that we like go, oh, I should be doing X, Y, and Z. It's I want to, but it's like I shouldn't normally. So it's just I got into that one. Mm.
It's itchy, so each their own.
Yeah. Throat itchy is Jane's clearing. I love it. It's a very unique one. I get it. Itchy, itchy head.
Oh.
This sounds pretty clear. I think that actually during the holidays, people allow themselves to create more, even though they feel like they're under this immense pressure to do so. I think that it's sometimes an allowing, so that's good. It's just more the stress around the time, which is now the third chakra. Here we are, time and power, right?
And self-worth,
Mm,
confidence. I mean,
yeah.
you know,
Mm, trying to impress people.
with your decorations, with your baking and cooking, with how together you are.
Right. Oh yeah. How much crap do we put ourselves through to make it look like we didn't try that hard?
I'm having a perfect. I love being the hostess, but it's like I must be the hostess with the mostest, right? Like,
Pretty dishes, thousands of sides.
mm,
Yeah. We're gonna let ourselves be, if we're creating to the capacity that we want to create, and that causes us to be a little worn looking, then we're gonna be okay with that. Because look what I
so
did. Go ahead.
it's also the eating and the digestion in the third chakra, right?
Mm,
Like that's
mm,
all those organs are.
mhm.
So yeah, a combination of increased creation plus the bogging down of the digestive system might cause you to have less energy, and that is okay.
Mm. Yeah. All that turkey last week, right?
In my case, ribs and chicken.
Ribs. Mm.
Yeah.
So we're gonna just let that clear because as it may manifest for you as a self-worth piece. It may manifest for you as feeling sluggish because of all the extra different new normal, not normal kinds of food that you're eating. So we're just gonna, wherever you are in that, just kind of love yourself here. And the third chakra is like right underneath your rib cage in the front, and the goes through to the back, but like right under the rib cage. I think that's the one that most people don't readily think about because everything else kind of has, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Right.
But solar plexus, people don't go, like, I know where my solar plexus is typically.
Well, the core, really. So,
Mm,
like, if you've ever been into fitness or anything like that at all, it's really where, like, it's not your center chakra, but physically is where everything stems from. And your identity and self worth are quite important. Plus, it's the sun. The sun gives life.
yeah. Also a big abundance one, which I think is another thing this time of year is like the need to feel like I'm the provider of the things.
Yeah. And also the stress of I have to provide lots of extra things.
Yeah. Mm, mm. Let's go to our favorite one.
Yeah.
Mm.
The one that I've been clearing since I got back from the time with the family, I guess.
We've been clearing that for like 5 years.
I just mean like physically hacking up my lungs.
Mm, yeah. So the heart chakra, we're talking about like the deep connections, family connections. Unconditional love comes through here. So whenever I do my love bubble meditation, I always talk about and I love making it feel more physical than like mental. So I always tell people it lives in your your left ventricle inside your heart. And it's like a ball of energy like that. When I do that, when I first came to that meditation, it was like I could feel it, right? Like that was the difference. It wasn't like I was thinking about it. It was like I could feel it and I could feel it open. And when it opens, it feels like this like cooling sensation. So for me, for some people, I think it's like getting chills like right here. It's crazy.
because it's like the only one that well, not the only one, but I like, I live through my heart chakra. Most people live through their solar plexus. I see it. And like, I'm not like clairvoyant is probably my last, or at least like down the road of like, I don't usually see things, but with that, I always see it, the ball and the energy and things. It's interesting. But self love also
Yes.
through the heart chakra. And I also find it interesting that in this time of year, the colors are red and green, which are the root chakra, which has to do with family, and the heart chakra, which has.
Yes. Oh, I got so many chills. Loving your roots. Mm. Sometimes when my heart chakra opens so wide, it feels like a dinner plate is on my chest. It's so crazy. I remember the first time that happened, I was in like hippie camp and I was in a class, which is like 1,000 women like camping in the woods.
Yeah.
That's what I call it.
No, I'm like, what does that mean?
An herbal conference. Like herbs and spices, not like herbaceous, dude. Uh, but I was in a class and I can't even remember what the topic was, but I remember sitting there going, what is this pressure feeling? It was like somebody just put a plate right here. And then I was like, is that my heart chakra? It's crazy. And the other one I'll get sometimes is the crown chakra hat. Feels like a tiny little top hat.
It's like really more back here, right? So like,
Yeah, I'll get it like here,
you
back.
know, even though I don't, maybe you're like a party hat, like,
Like or like one of those little
because
headbands
it
with the
does.
tiny
I know, but it just makes me think of that. It's weird.
like a party hat. I like that.
That one I feel and see, but I mean, it's the crown, so it has all the elements. But anyways,
Back to heart. Yeah.
that really is, I think, one of the things to come back to as well. Like, really, isn't the point of all this just love and loving your people, your family, your neighbor, your friends? And if they love you too, they're not judging the cleanliness of your house, the beauty of your crafts, and they're going to think your food tastes amazing anyway because you made it with love. This is huge with me with the food and the cooking, right? The energy you put into it.
Yeah.
So maybe we can just take a deep breath into our lungs, which are also surrounding our heart in the heart chakra space.
Like a warm hug.
Relax, yeah, about it.
Mm.
Enjoy the abundance of love
Mm.
together that we don't always make to spend.
That's
And all
great.
the hugs we do get. I mean, so many more hugs. I just hugged two people today I haven't even seen in months and months.
Mm.
And I met a new one and he hugged me, like so many hugs.
So good to see people you haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah.
So, throat chakra.
So that now.
Perfect timing. Right on cue.
Last time it was itching. That's great. Okay, throat chakra. Well, you are wearing the color today.
Yeah. It's all about speaking your truth, right? I think sometimes when we have a lot of people around and we don't want to get into a big argument, we don't say our truth. And that doesn't mean like, because a lot of times the arguments are like a political or religious or whatever, right? So it's not about like trying to convince somebody that you're right and they're wrong. And I think that's where the arguments happen the most. But just holding space for their viewpoint and then sharing your viewpoint, maybe. And but if you don't want to carry on the conversation, don't. That's also another version of speaking your truth. It's I don't want to have this conversation.
I mean, I say I don't have problems with family, but we're all very opinionated types, I
Yeah.
think. So there's definitely times when I just get up and walk away.
Yeah.
Like, try to engage. I try to make my point come across because I too am very opinionated and about speaking my truth, but it's not worth my energy at some point, and I just leave that energy space. Come back when it's more comfortable for me. And it's perfectly fine to do that. And if they're in a conversation and it's not just the two of you, it's going to be fine. Even if it is just the two of you, they can turn around and talk to somebody else. It's going to be fine.
Yeah. Or then somebody else will talk about something else or just bring more into don't worry about it. It does not have to be resolved.
No, it does not.
And and any conversation you have with somebody who has an opposing viewpoint and is not being receptive is never going to be receptive, right? It's just like what I say about bumper stickers. They purely serve to make people believe their own beliefs more.
The value of your vehicle. I don't understand the point. But that
So
is fun.
if you have somebody who's trying to yell at you with a, verbal bumper sticker or whatever it is, just let it go. I remember I had one experience where somebody was like trying to say some really ridiculous stuff to me, and I was just like, I can't, I can't have this conversation. But I was trying to sell the guy car insurance, so I listened, and then I said, "Sir, would you like to switch your car insurance?" And he said yes. So,
You just want to be. That's the thing too. Sometimes people just need to be listened to.
mhm.
Um, and well, I'm going to bring this into so people like to imbibe a bit with the holidays and with family, myself included. And I just had a scenario over Thanksgiving where I spoke my truth in a very nonchalant manner, but it was something that I would only normally say to someone like yourself or Michaela, which she was there, but so was my mom and others. And my mom just like laughed at me. And I'm like, well, I know you think I'm crazy, but this is what it is. That's fine. And I'm just like, okay. And then I walked away for a couple minutes, came back. It was fine.
Yeah,
It's okay to speak your truth, even if they don't believe it, don't want to hear it, whatever. It's not about them. And it's the same the other way around. Like, it's not really about you. They just want somebody like to talk to or to listen or to say it
yeah,
sometimes.
yes. It is not about you. I think we personalize way too much. Yeah. Good. Good. Let's move on up. Third eye. What do we even do with our intuitions during the holidays? That's stressful. Or a third eye chakra, which we can use for intuition, but we can also use for other things, right? Like overthinking on the low side.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. I mean, I think overthinking, obviously, but that ties into some of the other chakras as well. But that's kind of what I've actually come to learn with I guess it's true with all chakras, but with the third eye, particularly, it tends to tie itself to other like one other chakra at a time sometimes. I don't know if that makes any sense.
You've seen this? Like you've seen people who are walking around with their like third
No,
eye stuck to their heart
no,
or something.
not in other people and myself. And actually, it's funny you mention the heart because that is most common because it's actually pretty common for the like every other chakras to tie together. So like the root and the solar plexus, the third eye and the heart, the throat chakra and the crown chakra. But
Right.
the third eye I've noticed in other stuck in other spots for myself. But I think that's like the overthinking, and that can have to do, I mean, that can attach to self-worth, right? Or that can attach to creating. Like creation just doesn't necessarily have anything to do with thinking at all, but sometimes we think that it does.
Sometimes, yeah, and sometimes we think we're creating when we're just thinking.
That too. That
Yeah.
is, yeah. That's like one of the biggest probably blocks for anybody who reaches to be beyond mediocre in this life, right? And the intuition thing, I think that part of it can tie to the root chakra sometimes, especially when you're around
Mhm.
a lot of family and you're used to being intuitive and you are intuitive, but you have such close soul ties to these individuals and blood ties, which probably talk about that at another time, but you can kind of sense when they're not wanting to be around or not liking what you're saying, or you think you can, or you can even sense it between them and like others. And that's not really what we want to have it open for, right? So I really like, people are so, not, I shouldn't say, some people, it seems, and even now, like I have ads pop up in my YouTube feed about opening the third eye chakra. It seems like there's some kind of obsession with the opening of the third eye chakra. I don't even understand that because I never felt that way. And then, like, once it opened for me, well, it was a gradual process, right? Because I'm very protected, but sometimes I just shut that shit down. Like, I don't need that like filtered intuition so much all the time, which would bring me into the crown chakra because that is really, I think,
Yeah, you gotta distinguish, I think, between filtered intuition and direct.
right. And I think that people need to realize too that your third eye can be an eighth open, a quarter open, half open, three quarters. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
like
Like it's
squinting.
closed. Yeah, like it's an eye, right? Like and it can be like, oh, so I have to wear glasses so I can like see far away, and I have astigmatism and things are blurry at night, so I take them off. Like it can be like that too, I think, like not always clear. So um it is a helpful tool, but only in certain scenarios and parts of your journey.
What is the difference? What is filtered intuition versus direct? Because I think that's something that's a little higher level.
I think that your third, well, this is how I'm going to explain it because I don't really know how to explain it, but your third eye is sort of in between, it's sort of attached to your physical self, like it's energetic, but it's yours, like it has to do with your incarnation in your body, right? Because it has a spot and a space, and you only see through your third eye, right? Whereas the intuition that comes from the crown or source, and I mean, yes, source is through the crown, but like all other higher frequency beings are through the crown as well, right? Like, so everyone is connected. Like that is the like oneness, right? That's like the all, you're pulling information from the source of all through your crown. Whereas through your eye, you're filtering it, I guess, through your own brain, really, even physically, right? Like that's
Yeah,
where it's,
because it's on the pituitary.
yeah,
Mm.
right in the back.
Sorry, the pineal. Those two are so close. That's the pineal. Sorry.
But also, I mean, you have to realize how much we actually physically handicap our pineal as well.
Mhm.
So that's also why the third eye is not always the most reliable. But that's another topic.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't. So if you are watching us, you're probably into this intuitive or energetic stuff. I wouldn't really worry too much about your third eye during the holidays. And if things are coming through that take away your joy, shut it down for a little bit, or partially close it. You have the ability to do that. If you, however, the most open that you have gotten it, you were always able to go down from, right? That's my
Yep.
best way.
Yeah, and sometimes we open it and we don't understand what we see.
Right. I actually did witness before. I mean, I was early on in my conscious spiritual journey, and I witnessed, like, I was with a girlfriend and we met with, someone else that I knew who I've been delving in this stuff a little bit longer and had some gifts. And she asked them to open her third eye, and they did. And it was not a great experience. She was not ready for that. I mean, it worked. She saw things, but she was kind
Did
of freaked
not, it was not in her highest good. Yeah.
out. Right.
Yeah. So all of that, I can feel it now. It's like
Yeah.
coolness right there. Um,
I think also like this, at least for me, and I know this is a high illness, high cold type of season, which is often in your head. I think that that might actually be a way of protecting us from using our third eye this time of year.
interesting.
Yeah, I just today was thinking about that because our, we we are protected, like when we're not even trying to protect ourselves, or if we don't take measures to protect ourselves,
Yeah.
especially those of us who were put into this line of work or chose this line of work or whatever.
Yeah.
The light.
Hmm. So good. It's like it's opening though now. I can't like see straight because my third eye is opening. Okay, so crown chakra.
This season is so beautiful because, like you were saying, most holidays are religious, and religion is your path to connecting with the divine. Whatever you believe in, um, there's still one source, right? However you believe, whatever path the light, you know, like I don't like labels, but I like to now say that I'm Taoist because I believe in everything, but really I just follow the way of the light, which is what Taoism is. So it's like, I mean, you can see it too, like with everyone with the twinkling lights everywhere, and then like if you're in a colder region, it snows and the lights bounce off of it. Because I mean, like I was saying, I see the crown visually as well as feel it, and I see it as like kind of like bright light with silver and gold.
Mm.
Although, suppose most children, if you ask them, like before their egos develop, when they're still in the truth, they see it as the entire rainbow, which is kind of the same thing, right? So, like
Yeah. Of
prism into the white light.
white
Yeah,
light. Yeah.
yeah. And
Oh.
it is. I mean, during the season, it's all the colors. But there's lots of
Mm.
silvers and golds too, and light, and more opportunities to worship and gather with other people, speak of things beyond creation, etc. So I think it's just I think that's a big part of why it feels so magical.
Everybody's crown chakra is opening.
Hmm.
So what does this have to do with stress? How can we? How might we be feeling stressed because we're trying to close our crown?
Yeah.
That's why, right?
Why? Because it's special to for it to be open and it's healthy, but we're not necessarily used to it. So we could be
Mm,
consciously, subconsciously, or unconsciously trying to close it, which creates stress, which you can feel. Like right now, thinking about it, like I don't really do it often, but like I can feel it feels like physical pressure on my head, which is what stress feels like when I close my crown chakra. And it comes down through my neck into my shoulders. It's a whole weight. When it's open, like the weight is lifted. So,
oh,
I mean, it's not weird. I mean, maybe it is, but allow it. Just enjoy the joy that is to be had in the like people talk about joy and peace. Like that's where that's coming from. Let it
yeah,
be. I think also I wanted to say in the beginning, but it keeps popping up, like the be present, like really to escape the stress. Like you have to remember about the present. I think during the holidays we tend to move like we're always in the future. Like what are we planning for tomorrow or next week or the week after that? Or then there's New Year's and then, you know, just be here now, you know?
getting this like visual of like somebody who's like baking cookies, right? And they're frustrated because they have to bake 100 cookies or whatever it is, and they're rolling the dough, and just that presence of like notice the
Hey,
dough being rolled and notice how it gets thinner and like feel the texture of the dough as you're rolling it. Yeah.
actually believing in the moment. And as we know, anxiety lives in the future. So that's why that's what stress goes along with anxiety. Like you're keep trying to be before where you are, like you're gonna be more stressed out and more anxious. So yeah, enjoy this moment. Enjoy the person who's hugging you. Enjoy the feel and the smells of the cooking and the baking. Enjoy the beauty of the colors and the lights and
Mhm.
the moment.
And I think that it's good to talk about it's okay to allow yourself to be present in the moment, because it's not like you will absolutely forget what the next thing is. For me, it kind of, the next thing always kind of taps me on the shoulder, or I have this feeling of like, okay, this, and I have this saying like, I feel complete in this experience, right? And they, okay, there's something, this has like come to a complete point, and then there's something tapping on me. Oh, right, we need to leave to go do this other thing. And oh, look at that. It's the perfect time for us to leave because we're in the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, like I was slightly worried because I knew we were doing this at 9:30 today. So when I got home, my Lonnie was watching Frozen 2, and she's like, "Can we watch it again?" I'm like, "Sure, we can watch it again." And I'm like, "Oh, it might run a little past that." No, it was done at like 9:28. It's like, oh, okay, that worked out well.
Yeah. So I don't know about you, but I'm feeling way less stressed after we went through all the chakras and talked about releasing that.
And that's something too you can do on a daily basis. Like I think towards the beginning of my work, I used to just do a simple, I think it was even guided on YouTube because at first I didn't know how to lead myself. 5-minute meditation in the morning to like balance my chakras. Doesn't even have to take that long. And I
Yeah.
feel
Yeah. There we go. All right. So, I'm super blissed out at this point. All that all that third eye work, man. We just did a lot of third eye work. So if you enjoyed this video as much as I have, then please comment below and um like the video and all that good stuff. You can find us both at jnhealing.com, and I will put a link to that in the show notes, obviously, but also I've got to get you a profile on my website because I keep plugging you, and I'm sure there are going to be people who want to see more about you. So, yeah. What's one last thing that you want everybody to know before we sign off here?
Just happy holidays.
Yeah.
It's December 1st.
Good.
Enjoy.
It's a good time. Yeah. Everybody enjoy. Yeah. Well, you everyone have a great week, and we'll see you next time.